So we're going to go back into that advanced scenario that we worked on yesterday. The Cynthia Simon on there, and that is coming from that publication 6744. So again, what we want to do is that Lincoln Learn certification. When you log into that, you can go to Google and type in Lincoln Learn, and typically that is the first link that will pop up on the screen. And so you all should have created your account yesterday. So how do you locate that? Is once you Google the Lincoln Learn, and you're going to see it should pop up this VITA TCE Central. You're going to click on the right hand side you'll see the quick links. Under quick links, you're going to see the practice lab. We're going to click on the practice lab. And the password that we're going to enter in is the Train Pro Web. And that is all in capital letters. We're going to log in. And for those of you who did not create an account, you still have the opportunity to go and click on create an account. And you're going to see on the PowerPoint section, you're going to have to enter in your email, confirm your email, create a password, which will need to be 15 characters long. You're going to have to select the program type, which is VITA. And for the SIDN, you're going to leave that blank. So fill out everything except for the SIDN number. So I'm going to allow you to do that if you need to. And I'm going to actually go ahead and put in my username information. Also, to access this publication 6744, you are able to go to the irs.gov website and type in the search bar 6744, and it's going to pull up that publication for you, and you can go to the advanced scenario 8 for Cynthia Simon. Also, for any of you that would like to have physical copies of the 4012 or the publication 6744, you're welcome to come by our main office location on Swiss Avenue, and you can pick up a green bag on the porch that has that material. Once you sign up in Better Impact, we do let you know, give you additional information if you want to pick that up. So we're going to go into the practice lab. And again, this mimics the tax layer. It gives us lets us see what the actual live tax layer will look like. We will have more functionality on the live tax layer, but we will get a very good picture of what we're working with. And again, every time we want to go into the practice lab, we want to go to the practice area. So that is actually launching for us. And so, like I mentioned on yesterday, so we actually started working on Cynthia Simon already. And so we're coming back so we could just say, hey, maybe we started working on her tax return and she forgot a crucial piece of document, or maybe she just wanted to be like, wait, I need to bring my bank information, or I'm not ready to file right now on here. So we would then be able to, we've saved the return and we're going to come back. So instead of starting a new tax return, we're able to go to our client search and look for Cynthia Simon. So I actually have quite a few Cynthia Simon examples, so I need to make sure I pick the correct one that we need to work on. So I believe it is this one, the one ending in, it's going to show the last 4 digits of the social, this 9876. And within the tools, let's see, I should be able to go back and select that one. So I should see the select button to my far right over here. And I'm going to hit select, and it's going to allow me to go back into that tax return. So on yesterday, we did enter in the income information. The only piece of designated income, it's not taxable income, was the economic impact payment. So we do need to see if that will allow us to go in to get that fixed, to add that to the tax return. So you can see what I have highlighted is the remaining pieces of information that we will need to work on for Cynthia on here. So we have that she took an early distribution from her IRA in April to pay off her educational expenses. She is paying off her student loan from 2018. She is working towards her master's of business administration degree. She took a few college courses this year at an accredited college. She purchased insurance for herself through the marketplace and has a Form 1095A. If she's getting a refund, she would like a direct deposit into her checking account. And she received the third economic impact payment in the amount of $1,400. So some of this information right here, it is related to an adjustment. So we need to go and put in some additional information. So it's making me go back. So let's see, it's redirecting me. Try this again. So I'm gonna click up here at these menu items, and we're gonna go back to the federal section. And so we've taken care of the income. I want to go back also to the basic information and see if TaxSlayer, if they've put that stimulus payment. So I don't see it on here. So there'll be another screen that we'll look at to see if we can go to. So I'm going to go back to the federal section. And so we're still going to continue to work through the tax return. We've entered in all of her income information. So we're going to continue. And now it's going to take us to the screen with the deductions. So still working our way through the tax return. We know that there is an adjustment that she qualifies for. She has student loan interest income. So we actually want to put that into the system. So we're going to go and find that appropriate form. So here is her 1098E, her student loan interest. Now it does show that she paid $3,670. And so we also learned from the adjustment section that the maximum amount that she will be able to claim on her tax return is $2,500. So even if we put the 3,670, TaxSlayer will only calculate it up to the max amount. So I'm going to go ahead and still put in what she has on her form. And actually, sorry, it is 3,570. But TaxSlayer will still calculate the 2,500 amount. So we've taken care of that adjustment. And so now we need to go and see, does she have any other adjustments listed on here? She does not. So we've taken care of her student loan interest adjustment, but she mentioned that she was in college, that she was working, towards her MBA. So she did receive a 1098T. So we need to go to that one as well. So we're going to hit continue. And we need to go to the education credit. So we're going to go to the credits menu. And we're going to go to the educational credits. And so it will allow us to select the type of credit. So as of right now, the tuition and fees, the deduction, which is an adjustment, that has phased out. That is not on the return for tax year 2021 unless they do some last minute provisions. We know that American Opportunity Credit is for individuals working on their undergrad. So she's in grad school, so we know that she will not qualify for the American Opportunity. She'll qualify for the lifetime learning. So I'm able to go ahead and select that credit. And so all we're presented with is the amount that she paid for school. She did not list any additional expenses that she had to pay directly from the college. So we're going to do qualified educational expenses of the $2,000. We're going to go and enter in her institutional information. So that is the Suffolk College. And the zip code. Again, anytime you see your city, your state, your zip on these practice scenarios, you can create that information. We're going to answer the questions. Did she receive a 1098T? Yes. Did she receive a 1098T for 2020? We don't have that information, but we're going to assume that's no with a box 2 filled in box 7. So we're going to check no. We're going to provide the institution's federal identification number. Has the Hope Scholarship or American Opportunity Credit already been claimed on the prior 4 years? That's something we do not know, so we can still answer no. Was the student enrolled at least half-time? That's on that 1098T, box 8. That's not checked, so we're going to say no. She was not enrolled at least half-time. We're going to hit continue. And it's calculating the lifetime learning credit for us. So we're going to hit continue on there. And while we're still on this credit menu, on here we see that it does have the recovery rebate credit. So we're going to click on that and see if it will allow us to enter in that stimulus information. And going back to those interview notes, we see that she did receive the $1,400. So yes, I received a stimulus payment, and we're going to input that amount that she received. We're going to hit continue. So we've taken care of her credits listed on here. So the only thing, so we have a few other things. So we actually need to go to the other taxes. So, and for this is, she actually received funds from the early distribution from her IRA to pay off educational expenses. And going back to the other taxes section, that is one of the exceptions to be waived for the 10% penalty, tax return penalty. So we need to go in and make that adjustment. So we'll see on other taxes, tax on early distribution, we're going to hit begin. And we're going to enter in the early distribution amount that is not subject to the 10% tax. And that was that $2,000 that she received that we're going to input in. And we need to select the reason for the exemption. And that is higher education purposes. And you see it says it only applies to IRAs, and that was selected. She did pull it from an IRA. So we're now able to select continue. So we've taken care of her early distribution. And now we need to go and enter in her marketplace information. So we're going to continue. And it says we're continuing to the health insurance questionnaire. Did you, your spouse, or dependent purchase health insurance via the healthcare.gov or state marketplace? So because she has that 1095A, this is a yes. So we're going to select yes. And we're going to hit continue. So it's just her listed on the return. No other household members that we need to add. So were you eligible to receive unemployment compensation for any week in 2021? We're going to select no. She did not provide us with any unemployment compensation. Did mention that she was unemployed at any time. Are you required to repay all of the advance payment tax credit? On there, in most instances for our clients, it's going to be no, since we serve the low to moderate income families. Most individuals, their income is below that threshold, but if we needed to, we could take a look in the 4012 under the Affordable Care Act, that premium tax credit section. Is your household income below the 100% of the federal poverty line? This will default to no for, in most cases, because most individuals will not be below that 100% poverty line. But again, you're able to go back to that 4012 and check going to the advanced care, the premium tax credit section, and it will provide the 100%, the 138% poverty line to determine, if an individual qualifies to select yes. So you're looking at those percentages, what it'll have for that income and the number of people in that household. So this will be no. And then the last question, do all forms 1095A include coverage from January through December with no changes in the monthly amount? For this, we can select yes, because when we look on the 1095A, columns A, B, and C, the amounts for column A are the same. For January through December, the same is true for B, column B, and C. So we're going to select yes, and we're going to then be able to just put those amounts in there. So she received an advance subsidy of the $1,800. So we entered that in, and we're able to select continue. So we put the information in the return. We're going to continue to the summary. And this summary allows us to look over the tax return. And so we have entered everything in. And so it did mention that if she gets a refund, that she would like a direct deposit. But we can see that with this negative, she actually has an amount due. So we will not need the voided check. And we go back and check on our intake sheet. In page 3, number 4, it says, if you have a balance due, would you like to make a payment directly from your bank account? And she selected no. So seems like Cynthia will either be mailing a payment, going to the irs.gov website to make a payment online, or probably trying to set up a payment, an installment agreement if she cannot take care of that, if she cannot pay for it by April 15th. The good thing is we're doing her return, and it is January the 14th. So we're still able to submit this return if she wants us to, and she has all the way up until April 15th to take care of this payment, this balance due, before she accrues any additional interest and penalties. So I would tell Cynthia that she would need to pay as much as she can by April the 18th if possible. So right here, it lets us look through the tax return, but we're going to go and hit continue and finish up the return, and then we're going to do a print screen to look at it. So we're going to finish. Now, Cynthia owes more than $1,000, so there may be a small underestimated payment penalty that will be on the tax that she will have to pay, but that is not something that we calculate at the VITA site. So this is something new that is updated with TaxSlayer. So her federal amount due, we're going to say that she's going to mail a payment. We're going to hit continue. There are no fees associated with our program, so we do not charge. We're going to hit continue. Then Cynthia decides, hey, I had a lot going on this year. You know, I would like it to be a little easier for you guys to process my return the next year. So I'm going to opt into the global consent just in case. So if I go anywhere, I'll have this information. So we're just going to give her a pin, or she can create one herself. Select the date. Okay. We're going to hit continue to go to the next screen. These are some additional questions. As of right now, there aren't any asterisks, so we should be able to bypass those. But we do typically have additional questions, custom questions in our TaxSlayer, because we work with other nonprofit and other organizations that allow us to provide these services to our clients. So sometimes we just need to send them just general data, nothing that is directly related to a tax client. Asking them different, just some questions that is just related to maybe their living style, living conditions, and any preferences, or if they want to receive additional services. So we're going to hit continue. We're going to leave that blank and hit continue. So we're going to see what pops up on this page. Okay, it's maybe taking a while. So we're going to go back to the e-file and see if something pulls up. Okay. So I'm going to try it one more time to see if it's going to take me to that submission page. Okay, looks like TaxSlayer is kind of working on some updates. So typically once we get to the end, you've gotten to the very end of preparing a return. You may either put the return in review for your site coordinator or advanced volunteer to review the tax return, or you may just let them know that the return is completed and the advanced volunteer or site coordinator will actually come to your workstation if you're at a physical site and review it there. After the advanced volunteer site coordinator reviews it, we will then get the return and we will view it with the client. And so a lot of times we will actually view it while we are there before we print out the tax return. So I'm actually going to do save and exit, and I'm going to go into the client search and print the return from that screen. Oh, it logged me out. So let me try this again. Okay. Go back to the client search. I'm going to type in her name. So I'm looking for the last one. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and go to the print options and see if it's going to allow me to print a copy of this tax return for us to view. So a lot of this will be pages that we don't need. You see it's 40 pages, but a lot of this, they will not be getting 40 pages. This is not our normal set pre-packet. So just kind of going through this additional information that prints out her W-2s and all that tax information that we entered in. This is that global consent that's going to print out for just for them to have as their copy if they actually consented or did not consent. That prints out with the tax return. The 8879, once we review the return with the tax client, if they are in person, we will get their signature to sign off. That is authorizing us to e-file the return, and they are stating that the information on the return is correct and true to the best of their knowledge. Because Cynthia has a balance due, that 1040B prints out, and it is at the bottom, this will be a printing out for her. It'll have her social, have the full amount due, and it does on the second page provide an address of where she can mail that information to. If it is selected as a direct debit, the 1040V will not print out on the tax return. So just going through, after we have reviewed, after the site coordinator or advanced volunteer has reviewed the return, we're actually going to go back to Cynthia and let her review the return. Go over it with her. So we're going to say, "Hi, Miss Cynthia, if you don't mind, could you verify and make sure that we have your name, your social, and your address correct?" So this tax return, you are filing single. It is just you living in the household. You did not have any qualifying persons. And when we take a look at your income, we see that you have wages of $35,000. That's listed on line 1. You had interest of $250 as well as ordinary dividends that is taxable of $150. That's on line 3B. You did pull out some income from your IRA, and so that's reflected on 4B of $2,000. And you had some capital gains from some sale of some stock, and that is $2,350. You did have received some other income that's reported, and that is $2,973. So that is from a schedule. So if we need to, we can go to the schedule. We can say that other income was your net business income, because it could be a combination of other sources of income. So she has that other income from her business income of $2,973. So that is making her total income that she's reporting $42,723. She does have some adjustments to income. So we can go then to that page. And so we can say, with your adjustments to income, part of that is half of the self-employment tax that you're responsible for, as well as your student loan interest deduction. You can see we entered the full amount, but it gave her the $2,500. That is the maximum amount she's eligible for. So that made your deductions the $2,711. And so that those adjustments, which is reflected on line 10, reduces your income to $40,012. You qualify for the standard deduction of $12,550, which reduced your income even further. As well as we talked about the qualified business income deduction. This is related to your self-employment income. So you qualify for a business income deduction of $552. If we add that with your standard deduction, that gives us $13,102 and reduces your income down to $26,910. So that is your taxable income on line 15. That is the amount that you're paying tax on. In addition, because you are self-employed, you do have some additional tax that you're responsible for. So your federal tax is $2,816. And so then we also go looking at the amount from Schedule 2, line 3. you have the excess advance premium tax repayment that you're having to pay back of $373. So that means you provided the marketplace with income that was less than what you actually made. So you made more income on your tax return. So that is added. That's an additional tax that is added. So it's going to now increase your tax to $3,189. Then there's an amount on Schedule 3, that $400. But we're going to tell her, but you did qualify for an education credit of $400. And so that went back and reduced the $400 went back and reduced your tax liability to $2,789. But because you were self-employed and there were no federal taxes withheld, no Social Security, Medicare taxes withheld from that income, you are responsible for $421. So that then brings your tax back to $3,210. You had $2,000 withheld from your W-2 income and $200 withheld from that 1099-R. So you had $2,200 withheld, which is notated on line 25D. If we subtract that from your tax on line 24, that means you have an amount due of $1,010 reflected on line 37. Do you have any questions about your tax return? Are you good with us finishing up and e-filing your tax return? She did not want to have that direct debited from her account. So here is the 1040V voucher that you are able to mail in your payment. You have until April the 18th to make a payment if you do not want to be subject to any additional taxes. On there, we will provide her with the address. She will sign off on that 8879, and she gets a copy of the tax return. We give her back her we give her back the intake sheet. We keep a copy of the source documents that have the federal taxes withheld, and Cynthia is good to go. We have taken care of her. So we've taken care of the tax return for Cynthia, so she is good for this tax year. And that is what we do when we complete a tax return. We go over the return with them and provide them with a copy of the tax return, and we have them to sign off so that we're able to e-file the return. So we've entered in all of her information. And so what you're able to do, you're able to work on that advanced scenario, chapter 8. I would advise after you work on the scenario that you are more than welcome to flip to the test questions as well as the retest questions and answer those as you complete the advanced scenario 8 on there. So for advanced scenario 8, you should receive an AGI, adjusted gross income, of $40,012 and an amount due of $1,010. So you're able to work on that at your leisure.